So I'm going to make a video covering some of the basics into e-commerce for basically getting your stuff set up in regards. This may be a wee bit wobbly as I'm using a new camera, so I'm going to show you this thing here quickly. In case you don't know what this is, you've probably seen them in retail shops. Supermarkets generally use them to, cut through boxes quite easy. It's a really good tool if you're going to be packaging products yourself. It's really good at gliding through plastic or getting through cardboard really quickly. You should be able to get one of these quite easy for anywhere from around 10 to 20 quid. This is one I've had since I worked in retail a while ago, so it used to have a bit over it like that, but all you really need is just a careful glide, and it'll glide through any plastic or any cell tip in seconds, or cardboard in most cases. You want one of these just to make things easier for you with regard to basically getting through things. Another good strategy you can do, which can be kind of useful when you're starting out, or if you just don't want to waste too much in boxes. This is just an example from that one. That's just one from basically Amazon. You can quite easily reuse your boxes you get from Amazon, eBay, whoever you use, and it doesn't really matter. So you can quite easily, instead of buying basic boxes or buying packaging, you can quite easily just reuse your packaging. You can quite easily reuse your bubble paper and everything. You obviously can't use envelopes as easy, but for boxes like that, you can easily reuse them, so you put your products in it. This of course depends what size your product is. If for example it's all things much bigger than your order, it obviously won't work. But for general things, you should be able to fit most of your products in, as long as they're not too small and you're ordering bigger things or smaller things, all the rest of it. It should be quite easy for you to acquire boxes for free or very cheap money. If for example purposes you're say going to sell pool cues, then you need to order tube ones, and the tube ones will be able to fit the pool cues in most cases pretty easy. Whether you're selling things like Riley's, Powerglide, Predator or another brand, it doesn't really matter who you're using, they should generally fit in. This of course, you will obviously, if you're going to have a one piece one, then you obviously need a bigger tube. Most ones are generally 2 to 3 pieces, so because they're 2 to 3 pieces, they should generally fit in most standard sized tubes you can get quite easy. You'll be able to find them with a quick search in most cases, or if you want to, you can go to a packaging shop or wholesaler and you should be able to get it quite easy. The costs of them aren't really that much, so don't worry too much if you think it's going to be costing £100 or a load of money for each box. It's not good like that. This of course depends how much it's changed since the last time I was ordering. I've got a collection I haven't ordered in a while, but when I was doing it before, it'd be like 12 quid for like 50. So it's not like a pound or anything like that. So your cost per things would be approximately 25 to 30 pence, modern wise, or maybe 50 pence, and you'll be able to use those things quite easy. You can get these sort of things quite easy from Poundland. That's basically your cell tape. You can get that really easy, and that's just showing you the older version, just to show you I've done it for a while. You're able to get that. That itself should allow you to package most envelopes pretty easy, pretty simple. You should be able to get one of these for about £1 to max of 3 quid. Poundland's generally the best place to get this sort of stuff for cheap packing, cheap posting, and all the rest of it. That is the best place if you're going to be starting out to get the stuff. I mean, you can if you really want to go more into it, order a load of stuff. But you generally want your stuff coming out. You don't want your whole house full of stuff unless you're going to be selling, for argument's sake, 100,000 products a day. If you're selling me, you're going to be selling 100,000 products a day and you're guaranteed, then yeah, order more. But for most people starting out, Poundland should be good enough, or whatever your country's equivalent is. Go to a shop, go to a supermarket or a Poundland, or American version, I believe you guys call it Dollar Express, or Dollarland, I think it's what you guys call it. Get that, and I would imagine it'd be probably pretty similar to UK, since most Western countries generally copy each other for what you do. That itself should be good enough for your packaging. I'll also be covering quite recently into basically how exactly you can pick the product to sell, how exactly you can decide what exactly you're going to sell. Because I feel in general a lot of people don't really get these things right. The basics of it, just to put it simplified for you, is you want to basically be able to sell something which a lot of people are going to want. So for example purposes, if you're going to say sell an antique which there's only say 10 people in the whole world are going to buy it, then it's obviously much harder to sell than a product which has got like thousands or millions of potential buyers in your country or area. I would also recommend, with regard to you actually buying stock, now if you really want to do Alibaba, AliExpress kind of stuff, or another firm's equivalent of stuff, you can, but I generally don't do it. The reason I don't do that is most people in the world now know what AliExpress is, Alibaba is. We generally know how to get the products, so you don't really have to have any skills or technique. Anyone can do it. So if, for example purposes, make it simple, say you're going to sell handbags. If you're going to sell handbags and the person can quite easily find AliExpress the same things, the cost on it is, say, make it simple, say $10 per bag, and you're trying to sell it for 30 and they can find the exact same thing, they're going to be a little bit annoyed, quite likely, if you find out. So if you're going to be selling from there, that itself can become an issue. Now, If you're telling me that you're going to completely redesign a bag or whatever product, so it's going to be completely unique to you, have your brand and all that kind of crap on it, then hey, cool, go for it. But most people generally won't be doing that. This is where I would go back to either using Western suppliers or your local suppliers, whether you're in Germany, whether you're in Israel, whether you're in India, whatever. Use your local suppliers, use your local business, because then one of the big advantages you have with them compared to other people is, to give you a good example I had from my past, which I think still really applicable. So when I was basically selling on eBay and I was doing a bit on my own sites, I found in a lot of cases you'd every so often have these days you just run out of stock. You could just have sold too much, or maybe you didn't order it. But a good way around is, this is where the whole local firm you can get ordered. It doesn't matter if, just for example purposes, let's say it's an American firm in your country. If you have a local supplier from America, you can easily order stuff quite quickly, then that's cool. Or Italian, or whoever, it doesn't really matter. But you want a supplier you can get stuff really easy. You want someone you can follow one up or send an email that, hey, look, I've sold all my stock. If I pay you some money now, can you get it delivered tomorrow or next day? That's what you want. That's why I prefer Western. It's just so much simpler when you're doing the whole supply issues, delivery, or rest of it. Another thing you have to remember with regard to Amazon themselves, to a certain degree, brought the concept of next day delivery. So if, for example, purposes, you're selling something and someone's waiting like 2 weeks for it, you're gonna be like, come on, it's a bit slow, isn't it? That itself you'll find will annoy people. That's why I don't really use AliExpress, Alibaba. If I was going to do that kind of stuff, I would generally order it to my house or my business location, because then it's more easy. I can put it in the box myself quite quickly and do that stuff. But if you're not wanting to do it, you want to do AliExpress stuff, I'll probably make a video covering that stuff later on. But I would generally always go for a local supplier or a local business, whatever country you're in. It just makes things much more simple, because getting back to what I was saying to you about supplier issues, if you do have an issue, just make it simple. You're selling pool cues, you sold all 100 stock, you've got nothing left. What you want is someone, either your sales manager or the founder, whatever it may be, you want someone you can contact and be like, hey, look, I've sold all my stock, can I order some right now if I pay you 200 or 300, whatever you want? That's what you want, someone you can very easy order stuff from, so you don't have any delays. Because one of the things I found when I was doing this thing, I'm gonna explain something you may not know. It just comes from business management. If you've done business management, you probably know it. But if you don't, it might interest you. So, what's actually just-in-time management? Just-in-time means you order exactly what you need. So, for example purposes, make it simple. Say you run a cake shop. You sell exactly every day of the week 5 apple turnovers. So that means you only order for the ingredients to make 5. That's all you do. So you never have any stocks out. You sell 5, you order 5. If, for example purposes, you run a shoe shop, you sell every day, say, 50 green shoes. If you sell 50 green shoes sneakers every day, then you order 50. If you sell 60, you order 60. So you basically only stock we need. The reason for why exactly some businesses do it is you're not paying for storage space, which is pretty cool. You're not going to have excess stocks because you just order what you need. That's why some people like that system. Now, for e-commerce sort of stuff, you could do it, but I would always recommend you have a bit of extra. You don't need an extra like 1,000 or 10,000 unless you're expecting some big delivery. You've got a big plan. Having an extra few spare things of something's always a way. I mean, for me, the way I was always doing with selling products is I'd always order some, and I always have a little remainder before I'm ordering my things. So if things get delayed, which occasionally happen, you've got your backup stock, and you sell that, and then when your new stuff comes, you post it to customers. That's what you want. You want a ready supply of stuff. You also want everything as easy. You want to basically grab it, eat in seconds. You don't want to be looking for ages to find things. This is why before you start this sort of stuff, either organize your house, your shed, whatever you're going to be doing it from. It doesn't really matter, but you need something easy. You want, and getting back to this thing, you want one of these so you can just glide through it. That's what you want. You just go like that. Won't hurt your fingers. If you're worried, just go like that. Glide it through the cardboard, the sellotip, and go through it in seconds. If they're magic, you really want to get one. You should be able to get one quite easy for like 10 to 20 quid. It doesn't really matter if you got a yellow one, a red one, whatever. If you don't know what they look like or you're not sure, go in a supermarket and you'll see people cutting boxes of them. That'll be your best place. I don't think I've never seen little ones use it, but Tesco's and Asda definitely have these people about with them, and I'm pretty positive Sainsbury's and Morrisons probably have them too. So look around the supermarkets if you're not too sure of them, and you'll find out pretty quickly. You can also, if you want to, I mean, for example, if you go to one of these supermarkets, you're getting that well enough staff, I mean, you could easily say to the manager, hey, look, how exactly can get one of those things? And he might be able to help you, she might be able to help you. So there's lots of ways you can get stuff into it in regards to doing all that stuff. And getting back to sellotip, that's basically all you need. Now, of course, when you're selling lots of products, you'll need obviously a lot more sellotape than that. You'll need a lot of boxes. So when you start doing it, I would recommend you get at least 2 of these. You'll go through it quite quickly when you're packaging products all the time. That is something you have to work. So have your sellotape, have your way to cut it quickly, have that thing, and have boxes and standby. You want your boxes so it's easy to post the products. You don't want things being, I'm looking for a week to find a box. That's not cool. You need to get it as quick as possible. This is where I go back. I want to reinforce for our end is, if you have any products you've ordered, either you're ordering this week or you're going to be ordering soon, keep a stash of them. Keep a stash of boxes or other things you can reuse, such as sellotape, bubble paper, that kind of stuff, bubble wrap. You want stuff so you can easily put in. You want it so your product gets to the person as secure as possible. Another thing is what I'd recommend if you haven't done before. It just gives you a good guideline. If someone, I'm going to guess that person, there's going to be at least one other person in your area, or you'll know of someone who potentially sells this sort of stuff. So, for example purposes, if we're going to use example, we're going to sell shoes. Order a pair of shoes of someone who seems to be sort of at a small scale and find out how they package it. They'll generally obviously use shoe boxes, that's kind of a norm, but you might find they do something a bit different. They might use a fancy bubble, but you're like, oh, that looks cool, I'll use that too. So when you're ordering products of someone, do a tester of someone who will be your competitor. Buy a couple of products, make it simple, open it up, see how they do it, then try reselling the same thing. You're not trying to make a profit, you're just basically going to break even, or you'll lose a micro bit of money, like say, for instance, 10 pence or whatever. That's no issue. But learn how you're doing it so you get better at packaging. That's something you'll find is a good idea. If you don't know how to package or you're not that familiar, just order something from someone and you'll see how they do it. You'll see the boxes he used, you see the envelopes he used, the bubble paper, and anything else he used. That's what you want to be able to do. You want to order a couple of products which you'll be selling, or a similar product, so you see how exactly they're doing it. Then you can also reuse their stuff and obviously sell something else, or if you want to resell, or if you want to keep product and keep it used yourself. But you want basically a steady stream of stuff, so you always know what you're doing with regard to your packaging, your storage system, or where exactly you're going to do it. You can do it from this, of course, depends how big your house is and how much space you got. If you got quite a big one like this one, then obviously I can do more stuff with space. But if you got just say a smaller room or smaller areas, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Just have a part of your room or part of where you're selling, have it organized as much as possible, so you can basically walk in more as blind. Grab a product, stick in an envelope, stick in a box, and that itself should allow you then to easily be able to basically package these products for whatever you're selling. And that's the best per interesting you see. So get one of these, keep your boxes, get your sellotape, and have it on standby so you're ready. Another wee thing, this point note, you may not feel this is necessary, but I think it's quite a good idea. One of the things I'd done before I started actually selling on online eBay and sort of things, one of the things I did as a wee experiment, I basically just said, to one of my friends, one of my relatives, hey, look, I'm trying to learn about basic e-commerce, how to do it. I'm just want to get familiar. Is it possible I can post you something just for you to let me know what you thought, and also so I can see photographs of how exactly the product turned out? Did it get damaged? Do I need more secure packaging? That kind of stuff. And they'll let you do it quite easy, and that'll give you an idea of how to keep things secure. So it's a really good idea if you can, even just do one tester. If everything's perfect, then hey, keep doing it. But if something goes wrong, maybe for example purposes, maybe it's something, just for example, say it's glass. Say it's something glass or something that's easy to smash and postage. You might find, because of how you package it, it easily breaks. So you might then find the way to sort that is you put a bit of cardboard around it, you put some bubble paper, and that obviously makes it more secure. So if you're selling a glass bottle, whatever it may be, it gets the person secure. And that's what you want to always be doing in regards to selling. You want to always be looking at ways to improve it. Amazon will generally be one of the best ones for you to learn from, and also eBay. And anyway, that's some of the basics in e-commerce covered. I'll be doing more videos on it. Anyway, that's all. Thanks, bye.